Trying to get used to these shoes.
Huh?
I'm trying to get used to these shoes.
You ran for some occasion.
Oh, well, in 2 weeks, we're going to a wedding, and I got them for that. So
Just getting married.
my cousin's daughter, she's my second cousin. The proof.
They're nice, I like them.
Thanks.
What kind of a dress? Are you wearing a dress
Yeah,
or pants or?
it's a navy blue, and then it has kind of jacket over it, kind of a chiffon material with a print. I thought it's up in, you know where Traverse City is in Michigan? It's a little bit north of there.
Oh, it's.
And so, yeah, it's a destination, and the strange thing is, we're not invited to the actual ceremony. She wants that to be just immediate family members.
Well, then I don't, think you should ask
So,
your drapes all the way
We're
up.
going to the reception. So, yeah, I don't quite understand the rationale behind that, but. It's at a winery.
It's not at the
I
Grand
like to make
Hotel.
the because they just take you back exactly. Rather than have the all over rendition. Hey, how are you?
That is a big zucchini.
I know, it's not the biggest one. It's a couple more bigger than, I like it on the side, but when you come here,
They must not pick them regularly or
I
something.
think they just
to
let
let
them
them get to be that big. I think those aren't even good necessarily.
they're not as good as the small
They-
ones to me.
When they get to
The flavor, yeah, if it's just big. They don't have the regular ones. Hi, Darlena.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Diana. How are you
Good
doing?
morning. How are everyone?
Good.
She looks ridiculous.
Well, yeah.
She sent me a picture of the dress.
It's hard.
She bought by and
Flattering.
I thought, I thought. I can't imagine what she looked like. She sent me pictures. I could see.
Barbara, you still work at the post office?
Yes, I
It
do.
looked like flip-flops.
Yeah, I be praying for you too, because since everybody been getting robbed.
Yeah, I don't deliver mail though. I work in the office.
Oh, good. That's good.
Yeah. I'm outside. Yeah.
Whatever, recovery,
Yeah.
right? I don't know who made it go out on the water, but I don't think anybody has to go out on the water.
People want to vote it out.
People, why would you go out on a boat? You don't have to go out on a boat. That's not doing it.
And then you know zero about it.
And they
Well-
never wear life jackets.
And that was the case? I didn't hear that detail.
Well, I don't
The
know.
person who drowned, I'm saying, why do you need to be on a boat? That, I mean, some things you have to do, but that's something you don't. have to do. And you're not wearing
No,
no life jackets? Oh, I mean, that's really,
those that stand up on that little thing. They don't,
Well, especially
They
to
have
be
to
out
have
there
jacket
at
on
night,
this.
that's the craziest thing.
what-
I only knew one
I thought it
person
was
was.
7 people same boat, no?
They
sound sick, yeah.
They always on boats.
It sounds like she was,
She knew everything
both
about.
capsized, and it sounds like she was trapped underneath.
underneath, that's
The other
right.
people were rescued, but she was, yeah.
She drowned. Then the guy, what, about a week ago?
No, it's just so,
Yeah.
it's so unnecessary, right? Yeah.
Wow.
The playpen, that's what's not.
That's out the boat.
I didn't hear about that. I don't.
Well, there's this area off of Oak Street
Oh.
Beach where
The current.
apparently boats
Yeah, pulling them,
congregate
couldn't
on
say,
the
two
weekend.
of them jumped in.
And they tie
And they call
themselves
it the
together,
play-
Get out.
and they walk from boat to boat.
Yeah.
It's called a playpen, it's obnoxious.
And I'm sure there's,
Yeah, people don't.
abundant drinking going
Oh,
on,
yeah.
which of course contributes
Negligence, everything is.
the
Judgment.
danger.
It was 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, giant Duke.
People really, they don't realize the power of Lake Michigan, and then also that this guy was pointing out on the news that there's this long breakwater. That,
And they crashed into that.
and that's what they
I knew they had
crashed
something, I
into
heard
it. And the thing is, it's like, they said it's like 2 miles long, and it doesn't have any lights
Lights on
on
it.
it.
See,
There, I
they
think
think
there's one at the end,
Yeah.
but the rest of there's no light, so.
Well, you shouldn't be out there wandering
Well,
around.
no, that,
4 o'clock in the
that's,
morning.
yeah, but I wonder even if
Oh,
during
a boat
the day.
capsized this week.
Well, you
Oh,
can see
but
it.
you would be
Only
able
one
to
woman
see
was
the
not
waves
retrievable,
and
caught
stuff, so
underneath, but Jan's telling me about
She
this,
was-
these people, these
They
boats
hit
that
the
congregate.
breakwater?
Not smart.
They hit the
Yeah,
Yeah, they tie themselves down.
I mean, they're probably drinking, because it's all these boats that congregate.
They
Yeah.
walk from yacht to yacht.
I never heard of it, yeah.
And they tell
It's
them-
not necessary, I was speculating, I mean.
Well, yeah, I hadn't heard about it until a couple, when this woman, she was swimming she was in the water and a boat backed up and her legs got cut off by the propeller.
So there are no rules out there, huh? Is that?
They need to have, make sure people are trained.
But I mean, there's no rules on the water even, you think there might be.
Oh, there are rules.
Yeah.
They don't
Whether
like
they follow it. So,
They can do whatever they want.
Well, they're not supposed to, they do
I
it.
don't want to, so I'm not jealous.
Right.
Good morning, everyone. It's Pam.
Morning, Pam.
And Darlene.
We're early today.
Yeah.
Did you-
I don't see you
Hey,
because of
You
this
still
thing.
down in Macomb? You still working in Macomb? Yeah, how's it going?
To the end of August.
Okay.
Oh.
Dan said he used to take people out in his,
Yeah.
did you ever go out
Oh,
on
yeah.
the boat?
Yeah.
Did you wear a
His
life
father
jacket?
had a boat.
No, I don't think so.
And you're the big swimmer out on Lake Michigan too. Thank God you did.
Me, I'm not much
I
of a
know, you
swimmer.
should have had one.
I don't know, maybe we did, but I don't remember doing that. That was Jack's,
Yeah.
his father's boat, but that was fun. Were you on that? No,
Maybe once. I can kind of remember going
I
on
was
a
only
lot.
out there one time.
It's too long ago to remember. I don't know if I just heard about it or if I was actually there. you know?
I know, I never. That
It was fun, we got to see the water intake crib, close up and exciting things like that.
I was in some boat probably, and I can't remember who was driving, but that's the most logical one that I would have been on that, but I.
That's a long time ago. Well,
Alan, are we in the 4th chapter of Timothy?
5th chapter, I think, today,
Third?
Fifth? Oh,
5th
okay.
chapter.
I got my spring in the wrong place.
We're getting there, we go slow but sure.
Okay, I read it.
Where are we?
fifth chapter.
1 Timothy chapter 5.
What verse?
1.
Huh?
Verse
1.
1.
Oh.
We'll just go on there with that, as the clock, we'll give them one more minute.
Jane,
I don't know where everybody, maybe some
Should I do
people
that?
went over to Lakeview to
Jane.
encourage Patrick.
Yeah, that's true, they might have, I don't know.
No,
Thank you.
they've got a very nice minister, his name is Walter Pierce, and his wife and family, of course.
Where?
Walter
Where-
Pierce
where?
at Lakeview.
So they're not there now, or they're?
He's out of town for some reason,
Oh,
so
I see.
Patrick is preaching. Forget, he's from down south, I think he's from Florida. So he,
How long have you been there?
a couple years, I think 3 years. I want to see what cold weather is like.
Somebody put their cup up there. Oh, I'm getting your feedback, you.
Oh,
Well,
Thank you.
we'll go ahead and get started, and 1 Timothy chapter 5, any other news or reports? Everybody's looking good. We've been talking about the letter of Paul the Apostle to Timothy, who he refers to as his son in the faith, and how a congregation should be set up. And how do you do things? So here, this chapter talks about different kinds of people. It starts out, we read last time, do not rebuke an older man harshly, but exhort him as if he were your father. Treat younger men as brothers, older women as mothers, and younger women as sisters with absolute purity. Well, what can we glean from that verse, actually, 2 verses?
You speak to
The
the
church
elder with,
made up, I'm sorry, go ahead.
you can speak to the elder or older person with respect and love.
Okay, yeah, respect for older people. Because what? The church is made up of different kinds of people, different ages of people. And that's a blessing. There's young people, older people, men, women, there's children. And so that's a blessing. Then as now, the church is made up of all different kinds of people with different backgrounds. In that time, you had Jewish people, Gentile people. The Jewish people have been raised to learn and honor the scriptures. The Gentile people, this was all new to them. And so in the same way, we have people today who've kind of been raised in the church, others who've come to Christ at different ages. And so it's a blessing to learn from the perspective of different people. And we have people from Africa, from the South, from the North. Those are foreign countries too, right? In the North and the North. But anyway, so Paul's aware of that. And he says to Timothy as the minister, be aware of that, how you treat people. What might happen? Older people might be, sometimes kind of put out to pasture and not respected. But he says, do not rebuke an older man harshly. Younger men might say, well, you're too young to play a real part in the church. But he says, treat them as brothers, not as some kind of a lower class, if you will. Older women as mothers, as somebody who might have something to teach, and younger women as sisters. Again, not to be disregarded. All people considered with respect, treated with respect, befitting their status. And that's one of the, I think we've tried to do that here at Northwest. over the years. I was here as a young person and as an older person too, and was always treated with respect as a young person.
I think this particular issue is directed to Timothy himself
Okay,
as a preacher, because he's young.
right,
The position that he's heading shouldn't carry him out, thinking that he's above those he's standing of. He should see the elder people like his fathers, so that when he's talking to them, he should respect them. Don't let your position carry you out. That is why he advised him in chapter 4, verse 16, so that he should see the doctrine seriously. The teaching that he's going to teach will save him and save the congregation too. The behavior that Timothy will put on will save him and save the younger ones in the congregation, because we will copy a lot from him. He's young, his behavior will let the other youngest to do the same behavior. Sometimes your position, we can say, if we come to the world as a whole like this, political world like this, you see how the young men talk to them, and then they don't care your age or this thing background. They just talk to you, you call your name, and then if he insult you, will just insult you in that background. But in Christianity, Paul wants Timothy to sober and be very careful and know very well that where you are not above those people. They are your fathers, they are your mothers. Humble yourself to them, treat them like your, elderly people. That's what I think.
at the same time, let no man despise thy youth. He
Exactly.
says, because
Exactly. Be bold.
we've had ministers here of different ages, just reminiscing a little bit. Patrick was just a young man when he came here in his early 20s, and now he's been here 30 years.
Yeah, he said.
Just about, it'll be 30 years in February, he said. So we've been blessed by that. We've had some
What
younger.
about you, Alan?
What about who? What about
What
me?
about
I've been here
you?
forever. I've been here since I was 1, before that. So, and others like that, Dan has been here all of his life. There's a couple of them.
Went away to school though, you didn't.
He went away to school. We've had 3 young men here who were our ministers while they were pursuing a PhD at the University of Chicago. This goes back into the 1940s. And we've had more mature men as ministers. We had a chaplain from the United States Army for a while. And so it's run the gamut, and we've been able to learn from all of them. Anyway.
Just imagine your son, he's been there years too.
Who's that?
Matthew.
Son.
Been here has been here all of his life, yeah. And a lot of our young people. He goes on and says, in a long discussion, starting in verse 3 about widows, give proper recognition to those widows who are really in need. But if a widow has children or grandchildren, these should learn, first of all, to put their religion into practice by caring for their own family and so repaying their parents and grandparents, for this is pleasing to God. The widow who is really in need and left all alone puts her hope in God and continues night and day to pray and to ask God for help. But the widow who lives for pleasure is dead, even while she lives. Give the people these instructions too, so that no one may be open to blame. If anyone does not provide for his relatives, And especially for his immediate family, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. No widow may be put on the list of widows unless she is over 60, has been faithful to her husband, and is well known for her good deeds, such as bringing up children, showing hospitality, washing the feet of the saints, helping those in trouble, and devoting herself to all kinds of good deeds. And it goes on. We'll get to that. But why so much about widows?
At that time, a widow, you didn't have women going out to work outside of the home. So if a woman, a married woman's husband passed away, they would have no means of support unless they had, like here, they have children or other people who would be able to support them financially.
So there must have been quite a few widows in the congregation. Men have shorter lifespans than women and get involved in dangerous activities such as wars and all kinds of things. So, but it shows there must have been quite a few widows there. And these passages show, number one, the church was thinking about widows. The church was thinking about these people who might be in need. And point number two, they had a list. The old version says, do not enroll a widow. What's the list? They must have had some people that they helped, that the church helped. Others were cared for by their family, but there were some people that just didn't have anybody. And so the church was helping, and they organized a method of relieving these people, helping these people.
Wasn't that the reason that back in Acts that they appointed the first, I guess, so-called deacons?
Yeah.
To minister to the widows?
Widows of, Grecia, of the non-Israelite members of the church. So that has been an issue or a question for a long time in the church. And as I said, it was an issue here when the church in the North Plant, we set up a home for older people, happens to be in the Detroit area. So I don't know if anybody from the Chicago area has gone over there, but they have quite a number of people that they care for and can always use some contribution, but
Also, Alan, some of the widows, worked in the church,
okay,
and in turn, they gave them financial support.
okay. That's an interesting thing they have. As for younger widows, do not put them on such a list, for when their sensual desires overcome their dedication to Christ, they want to marry. Thus, they bring judgment on themselves because they've broken their first pledge. Besides, they get into the habit of being idle and going about from house to house. And not only do they become idlers, but also gossips and busybodies, saying things they ought not to. So I counsel younger widows to marry and to have children, to manage their homes and to give the enemy no opportunity for slander. Some have in fact already turned away to follow Satan. If any woman who's a believer has widows in her family, she should help them and not let the church be burdened with them, so that the church can help those widows who are really in need. So he talks about the younger widows should marry, he says. But those who are over 60 may be less likely to remarry. So they're put on the list. And they evidently, their first pledge, evidently to be on this list, these ladies have kind of taken a vow to serve the church as their full-time occupation. So that's interesting, isn't it? That people would make that commitment. What do you think of that? Were they nuns? Is it wrong to be a nun? I don't know where the word comes from, but.
I think it's a little different now.
Okay,
I mean, widows then were completely dependent on someone else. Now they get Social Security. I mean,
okay,
or some other type of income, at least in this country. But it's still, the church should still kind of look after them, because loneliness is a huge problem. too.
okay, that's
Even
good.
American Post Office talks about it all the time, how the mail carrier sometimes only person sees. So there could be an issue, a different, maybe not financial that we need to do, but just to help, call them, talk to them sometimes.
Yeah. There was no social security or security net of welfare and Medicaid and all of those things that existed at that time. And there's still holes in that net, whatever opportunities for the church to meet needs of various kinds. There's still needs for medical bills, there's need, and as you say, we think of needs as financial, but there's also needs for fellowship, for inclusion in activities. And they didn't have cars and the ways to get around, no public transportation in those days. So it was important for people to be involved. And it's interesting, though, that they seem to, some people have made the choice to make that commitment to full-time service to the church. And I guess there's nothing wrong with that, to be committed to full-time service to the church. Paul was, Timothy was. Jesus said, some are eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven's sake, some forsake normal, or some forsake family life to serve the church in various ways. But it's interesting that the church, the point is the church thought about this and organized something to take care of it. And that perhaps is the lesson for us. We need to be aware of the needs in the congregation and make plans to deal with those. It may not involve widows, it may involve other situations, newcomers to the city, newcomers to America might be in need. And that's what we're trying to reach out to some people who fit that category. Who else might be in need?
For the orphans, I think for widows, I think maybe they had children.
Children too, yeah. Yeah.
Well, these asylum seekers, they have,
What's that?
it's kind of similar to
Yeah,
asylum seekers.
that's right.
We're trying to help them,
Yes.
because they're destitute. They
They're
got nothing,
newcomers.
they would give them some shelter, we give them some food, but they don't have any clothes or other things
Yeah.
they need, so.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the same thing, we're helping them out, there's a special need that'll change someday. This is a temporary situation, but the church's gotta be flexible, I think that's a lesson, every era, has different needs pop up.
That's right.
We have to be kind of flexible in how we try to meet them,
Yeah. Immigrants,
It's hard sometimes, like, to adjust ourselves, but we.
who else could be in need?
Well, talk here about widows, you could also have men,
Okay,
older men.
yeah,
Widowers, yeah, good,
Might need
widowers.
some-
widowers.
Might need some help.
yeah. We used to visit people after Sunday morning service. Some of us would go to nursing homes, but others would visit some older people, men and women, who couldn't get out. And we had a regular rotation for those. And we'd take the Lord's Supper and have a short service with them. Remember that, Dan? We'd take communion to different people.
We did it at our church too,
Yeah.
Sunday, people who didn't come. Because
Yeah,
Shut-ins?
Shut-ins or people who just sick,
That's right.
couldn't come, take the communion, those sort of.
Michelle, do you remember, how they used to have the old nuns and the old priests? And they put them away, like, in, housing,
Retirement?
yeah,
Yeah,
because I know in Indiana.
Uh-huh.
When my daughter was living on 33rd, it was, apartment, nice, apartment building, and it was all old priests.
oh.
Okay.
Yeah, way over the hill.
At least they got them out of the ordinance
Yeah,
service,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, they do that, so.
Well, people live
Cause
longer
I mean,
now.
I minister, you know, if we had, really old minister here, we'd have to take care of them too, you know, pastors and stuff like that.
Oh,
Cause my mother was a housekeeper, for years.
She took care of them,
Mhm.
their place?
Mhm.
Yeah.
She was.
Yeah, some ministers don't feel like, well, I can never retire because, you know, they don't have the same pension and a 401k plan and all these other things. Some churches have started to have those, but, anyway.
Excuse me,
that's-
Alan, the home you talked about in Detroit, is that for widows or older people?
That's
You're
for,
saying-
it could be widows, it could be older men, it could
Oh,
be for
okay.
a couple. It's just, a place, it's similar to some other homes for older people. They have different levels. You know, for those who are kind of independent, they can have like a cottage. And then if they progress to the point where they need more care, and then eventually, you know, full nursing home care.
Oh, okay.
So it's, like so many of the homes around here, it's a progressive type of thing. Eventually, we're all headed in that direction. We're gonna need some help probably. It's nice if it can come from the family. And that's one of the things here that he says that's the preferred way for welfare to take place is in the family. That's the logical way.
It's also the way you get better care, I think.
Okay,
Nobody's gonna take as good a care of you as your own family. I don't care who it is.
Unless they.
Some nurses are better than others at doing it, but, you know, your own family's gonna be there to meet your needs on a different level.
So they put them away in nursing homes and they never see their children.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and your distance from your family, so makes a lot of sense. If you can stay with your family. Not everybody can do that, but,
yeah. Sometimes the physical needs are such that,
but it
it's
might be special needs, yeah.
impossible for the family
Might be
to.
dialysis or something, yeah.
Sometimes, like, the way American system is, like, the way we are saying it as, is different.
Yeah,
How Israel then, the system is different.
Yeah.
It's like, just like Africa, the way it is, we don't have a nursing home to send
Yeah.
the old ages, widows, this kind of thing, but it's very good that ages and the widows live with their family to take a good care of. But there is some widows, truly, as Paul was saying, they don't have anybody to take care of them. Some too have kids, but during that time, the kids just reject them.
Yeah.
I was saying last, we have one in our church, is the church who hire somebody to take care of the old lady. We, every Sunday, we provide throughout up to the time
That's
the woman
wonderful.
pass away, you see? So we have those kind of problems that Paul sees earlier on and then put it that we
Right.
should be very cautious and take care of it. Good. And then we have agents that during, service, they were not able to be coming to the service again at Sundays or this kind of thing. So it's become the church obligation to share those burden among the deacons and the other church leaders. Every Sunday, you take a Lord's Supper, you go to all the ages and then we give them Lord's Supper and pray for them and teach them a little bit and whatever transform the church so that they also feel confident that they are part of the church. So all those things, but here we have a nursing home. Then somebody will just take his parent and his father or mother and then go and put him in the nursing home. I think that is also another thing, but it's very good that your parents, if you are able to be with them always and then they see you, chatting with you, seeing you all the time, they feel very comfortable that you're rejecting out of the, home to the nursing homes.
I mean, it's like the Odoms, I think, did a fabulous job with her dad. I mean, and to his mental, it just got so difficult that at the end, they had to get him full time. You know, I think it was tough for them. It seemed like.
It's not easy. It's not easy job.
Yeah, I think the reason why most people in America send their parents to the nursing home is because of maybe your job lifestyle. You cannot have that 100% care from your kids because they have to work.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then when they're in the nursing home, you believe that they get more medical attention than when you yourself taking care of the parents. Back in Africa, we don't have that. So we the children, we take care of them. But that opportunity is here. I think that's the reason why they do that. Of course, you have to still work anyway. I'm not being 24/7. Take care of the and and then most of them make provision for that. When I'm old, this money is there for this nursing home. So that provision is already made when they grow up. So it's not a bad thing to do. That is the system. That is the way the system is.
It's very, very expensive.
And it's expensive. But
Yes.
some people, when they are old, they make provision. They are young, they make provision for that. Just,
I mean, it's like
This is for nursing home.
the seniors here in America, they have Social Security or pension or whatever, but the facility takes all of it. They take all of it, to care for those. And not only that, they're always short of help. And most of the nursing homes in Chicago, they get neglected. They get neglected really bad.
They don't do.
Yeah, they used to always have to broadcast it, how bad they
Some
were
of the
being
nursing
treated.
homes,
They take from them, they take their clothes. If their children send a new sweater, they come back the next day, the sweater is not there. They don't feed some of them, they be wet all night long. All sorts of things, Cause the nursing home that we went to.
Unfortunately.
Was not nice at all. It was terrible.
Yeah, and people complain almost every week we were out there.
They
right?
just cracked
Barb is always confronting the
That was
administration
all.
about problems every week. You write about protest letter or call or something. It was not a good situation.
Unfortunately, that happens.
There you go.
But if you have somebody that can take care of the person at home, and you have the provision, that's the best thing to do. And if you don't, then the nursing home is the option.
Right, but the next best thing that you can do for a loved one of yours is make sure that you go and visit often.
That's
When you
it.
go often,
They
or
are
a
always
daily basis,
Every
they
week.
gotta take care of them because
Yes,
they know
yes,
you
but
come.
if you neglect him or him, they will also, because nobody comes to visit you,
No.
nobody comes to visit.
We used to
Excuse
see
me.
people, they tell us at the home, so-and-so, their relatives brought them there and never showed up again.
Just dump them there. Most of them out
Excuse me.
dump there. But we became their family, an
That's right.
extended family by
That's right.
coming out every week.
$30.
And they really look forward to that.
And that's if they wanna on a snack or something like that. That's all that they will get out of their checks and stuff, maybe like $30.
Yeah,
And
that's the law,
my-
that's only because the law requires it.
Yeah.
Whatever, yeah, but they take all the money.
Yep, I had an uncle in Detroit, and he passed away, and my auntie called up there to so they could go visit him, and they didn't even tell us that he had passed away, and my auntie was so upset. Like, what happened? Like, she found out where the body at and all this, and they couldn't even find the body where he was at. It was terrible. We had to go find out where the body at, everything. It was a mess. And then, yeah, it was so sad and everything. They hadn't even called us and told us that my uncle had passed away. Didn't get in touch with none of the family. And my auntie called up there one day, wanted to come and see him and stuff. And they was like, oh, he passed away. Like, it was so sad.
Man.
Well, that's not the way that it's supposed to be, and that's
No.
this chapter is that the church should be aware of the needs and should meet those needs and have a plan to do that.
Remember when, the guy had all those bodies and he didn't bury them?
Oh my
Remember
goodness, yeah.
Yeah,
The bodies were everywhere. He never cremated them, he didn't embalm them, he didn't do anything.
They just laid out on the ground.
All over the cemetery, people relatives.
yeah.
You think he's still in jail?
Probably not. Got enough money to that.
Anyway, there's just a couple of points before we leave this chapter. We talk about good deeds. Good deeds. They're defined here in verse 10, isn't it? What are good deeds? Well, here it says, bringing up children, showing hospitality, washing the feet of the saints, helping those in trouble. Those are good deeds, just day-to-day servanthood, if you will. What does somebody need? Sometimes we think of good deeds as some great thing, but just the day-to-day meeting the needs around you for food and shelter and washing if it's needed. That's interesting that's the good deeds that Christians, people and families, you serve your family, those are all good deeds. And the Lord sees those. It's also interesting, for younger widows, Paul says, well, they should get married, assuming they can find somebody that'll have them, I suppose. But isn't that interesting? Because we were mentioning the other week that in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, Paul says, it'd be better if everybody stayed like I am and be single. Now, he later talks about there being special circumstances. But it's interesting that here he says marriage is the best state, because there you have a couple working together to meet each other's needs and the needs around them. So Paul is not anti-marriage. Here he encourages it.
And but he makes a kind of an unkind generalization about women who don't have families to take care of or some kind of work, where he said, well, yeah, then they become gossips and busybodies. Well, now that, I think that's a little unfair, because that might be, and some married women who have families. So I think that's a little bit harsh on his part.
Maybe he's seen that. Maybe that's one of the promises that church had. But it's, I think what's the message? If you're not involved in doing good, there's a void in your life that's going to get filled up with things that aren't as healthy. Whether you're a man or you're a woman. If you're a man with nothing to do, I don't know, maybe go to house, or maybe you stay home and watch TV that you shouldn't be watching, or, you know. The point is you need to fill your life with something that's worthwhile. Most of us, like you say, we have to do that, we have to earn a living. And so we spend 8, 10 hours a day doing that.
That's what I'm saying comes from idleness is the devil's work.
Yeah.
I think in the Bible,
I think
it's in Proverbs or something, but it really is true. You all have a void in our lives. We have like a big black hole. We have to fill it up with something.
Yeah.
Good things or bad things. We get filled with something. So Christ is always directing us in God to fill it up with good things like this.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So you're wasting your life, you know.
I guess if, you know, they have some, Jesus had some things to say about people who were rich, you know, that they could waste their time to. So anyway, that's the plan for widows. Don't let the church be burdened, but if it's needed, that's what they're there for. The elders who direct the affairs of the church well are worthy of double honor, especially those whose work is preaching and teaching.
Do you think that means money with the fan?
Well, he goes on and
So
says,
you not should be getting a paycheck.
do not, he quotes, do not muzzle the ox while it is treading out the grain.
I think he's talking about money, double
Yeah.
honor.
Yeah.
That's a double. Yeah. That's how when you honor somebody, when you give them money, right?
So-
We're not looking for a raise or anything.
If we had a raise as elders, it would be from 0 to
0 times 2.
I've heard of other churches where the elder's full-time
Yes.
administrator and he's paid a salary,
Yeah.
full-time.
Yeah.
And this is a big church,
Yeah.
but maybe they got 2,000 members and they need people full-time, you know, to keep in touch with everybody. But they pay them, man, there's nothing wrong with that.
I mentioned a few weeks ago, we met a man in Florida who was a full-time elder and did
Wait, was he paid?
visitation work. Yeah, that was
They did pay him to do
his
this?
job, yeah. And
No, he was
that-
doing it voluntary.
But today, you know, most elders are either working or retired and have a pension and
Yeah.
so on, and,
Well,
but,
Patrick's an example, he's an elder,
Yeah.
and he's full-time, and we pay him a full-time salary.
and
That's all.
Carlos also.
Kinda good.
He gets paid for being a preacher, not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, the worker deserves his wages. Do not entertain an accusation against an elder unless it is brought by 2 or 3 witnesses. Those who sin are to be rebuked publicly so that the others may take warning. That's in the context of elders, but seems kind of harsh. But as a family, we should be able to deal with situations like that. I guess the point is, and Patrick has made this point several times, often you try to cover up things, and that's not good. We read, you know, scandals about churches. Well, this minister or this one has done some things they shouldn't, and because they didn't have the courage to reach out, put a stop to it. Some of the local mega churches you can read about them. Anyway, I charge you in the sight of God and Christ Jesus and the elect angels to keep these instructions without partiality and to do nothing out of favoritism. It's pretty important. In the sight of God and Christ Jesus and the elect angels. That's a kind of an interesting way to take an oath. Because that's what it is, he's really saying. In the sight of angels, do you ever have the feeling that you're being watched by angels?
Well,
We talked about that once before. Do we have guardian angels?
I think we do.
There was an article in the Tribune today, I think.
Is that right?
Something like 70% of Americans believe in angels. That there are angels active in our life. I didn't read the whole thing, I just saw the headline, but I'm gonna go back and read it later on today.
So is this an elect angel, like they elect the Christians? What is,
Well,
what's the?
elect means, you know, chosen for some particular job. Maybe they're chosen to take care of you and me. You know, maybe we do have angels watching out for us. And that should be a happy thought, not a frightening thought that there's a ghost beside you. But that, because there's sometimes we wouldn't want that. But anyway, it's interesting. In the sight of God and Christ and the angels, we know that God sees everything that we do. Do not be hasty in the laying on of hands. That's the way they commission people for particular works. Do not share in the sins of others. Keep yourself pure.
I have a question now.
Sure.
Appointing a church leader, what are the qualifications
For what?
for a church leader, appointing a church leader?
Well, that he's just gone through that, you know, elders and deacons.
But I mean.
Is it for Timothy, is it for later generation?
Well, yeah, in this
I'm
case,
talking about today.
Mhm.
And what I mean is, like, do they have to go to ministry school, college, university?
no.
Or a church leader, like.
You mean a minister doesn't, there's no specific qualifications in the scriptures. But, you know, some churches feel that that would be helpful. I guess the most common qualification for a minister is a married man, by the way.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
most
yeah.
churches
Yeah.
want a family man. Because what they're really doing is they're hiring the family, they're paying the guy, but they're getting the spouse also.
Well, we looked for that when we hired
Yeah,
this,
we
right? We
certainly
wouldn't hire Patrick if we didn't have Laura.
That's
I don't think we would have. I wouldn't have voted for him. Because she is a part of his ministry. She is there every Sunday helping out and keeping things running upstairs. That's very important.
In general, you'd look for those same qualities as elders and deacons have. And notice that when they talk about the women, a lot of these qualifications are the same as for the elders and deacons.
Well, can I ask you a question? Did you go to ministry school?
Did I?
Yes.
No, I didn't go to ministry
Came to
school.
Northwest. I'm saying, back in those days, you know, we had a lot of classes here we learned in church.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, being apt to teach, you just have to know how to
Reading
teach
millions of
because
books.
you study at church, you studied in Bible classes.
Okay, but I was just thinking about, Patrick.
Patrick
went to
went-
university.
Yeah.
His son went to ministry school.
Well, he was what-
Well, they went to Christian college.
Christian college.
Well, college, yes, kind of.
So, okay, so you said it wasn't for him to.
Josh was a what, communication?
Become
Yeah.
a minister.
Joshua didn't
Major in Bible.
major in ministry.
He did major.
No, he did not. So,
Patrick majored in speech.
Patrick,
He was a speech communications major.
Bible minor.
But he studied the Bible every quarter. If you go to a Christian college, like a Bible, you get a minor in Bible, whether you like it or not, but you have to go to Bible class every day. So he got his Bible education along with his speech degree, and that's why he's a talented speaker today. You know, he's very effective. You listen to him, you'll always learn something,
Yeah,
always,
true.
because he's got that ability to zoom in on a few thoughts, you know, that are key. And that's a talent, not everybody has.
now Dan, you went to,
No.
All right, Josh.
University, I was thinking that was, where ministers,
Some come out of there, but they don't have to have that type of.
Okay.
there are colleges, just regular four-year colleges, operated by pretty much overseen by members of the church, like Harding and David Lipscomb and Pepperdine.
Yeah.
But the people who go there don't necessarily major in ministry. You can major in business. Dan, what was your major at Harding?
Business.
Business.
But I had a minor in psychology, actually.
Okay,
So I use a little psychology.
so Dan went to
Very
Harding,
helpful.
same as
In
Pat.
sales, you know, it's helpful, I'm not dealing with that. Yes.
So those are great opportunities to meet with other
Marriage, it's good for
Christians.
marriage, I'm just saying. Use
But,
somebody.
You know, Jean Shea goes to
Right.
Pepperdine,
Right.
but she's like a kinesiology, exercise physiology major. That's
I see.
maybe pre-med, so.
Okay.
Harding is very well known as a business, people go there
Yeah,
to
I
study
know somebody with
business.
a master's from Harvard. Business.
Now, there are other schools that, like, Greg Watson went to Sunset School of Preaching. And so he spent a couple of years there focusing on preaching.
So Moody's is like the same thing.
Moody?
Moody.
Oh,
It's a four-year college, but it is specifically intended to be a religious college because it's not, you can't get a degree in, just a regular
you
degree
can, but
there.
it's not accredited.
Right, it's not an accredited university.
You can teaching and music.
Yeah. So anyway,
Okay, we wouldn't agree with their teaching completely.
Not all.
I know,
Yeah.
I was just saying.
Patrick got a master's degree from North Park University here in Chicago, which is not a Church of Christ school, but it's a place where he studied some advanced biblical subjects. Matt went there and majored in trumpet.
But he had Bible requirement.
That's part of it if you want it.
Yeah,
I
okay.
don't have it.
So anyway, there's a lot of ways that you can prepare yourself for greater service in the church. There's the Christian colleges, there's preacher schools, and you can study on your own.
Well,
There
books
have
that
been
have
some
been written by
preachers that have been
preachers.
self-taught,
Yeah.
I've heard of it. They just studied, they got, their books are kind of like Abraham Lincoln, he
Who's
became a
that?
lawyer without going to legal school.
Oh, yeah,
He
that
just
was,
studied at home,
that's right.
self-taught.
As
That's the way
an
to do that.
apprentice, that's the way you got to be an attorney
Be
years and
president.
years
I
ago.
went to college.
Apprenticeship.
Well, Pam, you were correct yesterday when we were studying. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Pam.
Yeah. I know you had a question on that, so I said, please ask.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay, well, we're out of time, but thank you for your thoughts and comments. Yeah, we like to.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate everything.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
So Christianity, what we're talking here, basically,
That's right. That's
bring us all
what.
together, keep us
How many
together.
books have you read?
If you apply it, if you
More
don't.
than if you've gone,
you fall
number of
apart.
books you've read, commentary. Much more than you would do in a college. Get all the years. How are you doing? Well, you got to stay the whole time. Awesome. Everybody's well,
Okay.
where they need to be.
If you're older, you can just say supervisor.
We'll let,
Very sermon?
Yeah.
We hadn't heard it before,
I hadn't known.
you kept it secret.
Well, he wanted to practice, and I was like,
You didn't want to- You wanna practice on your daughter.
I told him, I'm like, I would make a good preacher's wife, because I don't wanna listen to you.
Surprise me.
Gracious, you made it, could happen, you know.
No, he's getting the paycheck.
Stranger things have happened.
Laura just told she doesn't have to. Right hand.
The fairy doesn't get paycheck for doing it.
One of your children may become preachers.
It's
They,
hard to
You could
see
do it
what
on a
they'll be
fill-in
doing.
basis.
you don't know, it's
Can't
too early
tell
to
yet.
tell, but they may take an interest in it.
Will thinks he's gonna be in the NFL, so
He might.
we all have dreams.
Yeah, right. Pipe dream.
All right, everybody. See you guys next
Okay.
week.
good to see you.
All right.
Thanks for that kid, Joe.
The talented people.
Yeah, but it's-
Everybody has what it takes.
Michelle, that was always my advice.
Alan gave me
Yeah,
that.
I said, see, you know, we found that way around.
Oh.
We're gonna
I said,
we're gonna leave
We
on
didn't get at the bar, that
Friday.
was when we weren't meeting and all that. I said, it was sort of,
Because
yeah, I
there's
said,
a 12
I think you would like that.
March. Yeah, that's when he was here in March.
Friday.
Yeah.
I'm taking with Patrick on, we're not meeting about a Giggins installation or anything like that. Patrick said something about a meeting today, but I didn't hear a second. We are meeting?
It is.
What schedule? I didn't see anything on the internet.
So my sisters. Listen, it's the strangest thing, Tim and Sarah were not invited.
Oh, yeah, that's,
And I'm not 100% sure why. The thing is, when Sarah got here.
I remember seeing her. Me too.
And that way, my
Maybe you
cousin.
better touch base with them, I'll call them. Coming back.
We were not really having
And,
much
they're
contact.
still on.
And it was because of her father and just various things. But anyway, we haven't been really much in contact.
You know, Dan, I
And
think
so
that
she
I'm
did
right
go
into
to
Tim's,
Tim's
right, getting here, clean up that.
But then,
Oh, yeah.
it was actually,
I don't have one on me
it
now.
happened that way, that my mom,
Let me give it to him, because I gotta clean up this.
mother,
I will, get
she
you one.
and
All right.
her mother and my uncle had been, I think they were.
All right.
You know, you still have the old key,
Yeah, I do.
still works on the side door.
Oh, it does? I never.
Yeah, just use
So
that
anyway,
door,
she
you
had
don't
always
use it that
said my
much.
mother.
That's just use the side door, yeah, we didn't change that.
To her father's.
The guy originally was gonna make the
But
same.
it was such a
piece of frontage,
dysfunctional
but
relationship.
then he backed out,
Yeah,
so,
after a while,
Okay.
she,
we got new teeth.
for her
Good
own
question.
personal health, cut off.
Yeah, you did.
So, at that point, we haven't been much in contact.
No, I
And
was
anyway,
very.
so things, so
I was too.
they were invited, we did go to listen to them.
You're an active ministry.
So I think, I'm not sure, and then, you know, even when we, after we had gotten together, Tim and Sarah were living in New York at the time. And so he's really
We'll
had
see you
very
when
good
you're up and back.
contact,
We're gonna
and I
have-
think hardly knows the daughter at all. So,
cousin's daughter.
my cousin's daughter,
That is.
so,
That's.
I'll try 1:30, then we'll.
yeah, I know, is it, but then the other possibility, which again, I don't think should include their being invited, but they don't want any children at the reception. No kids, except they have one of his, I think it's his niece, is a junior bridesmaid or follower her or whatever. But otherwise, no kids, so that's, I mean, Tim has 2 kids.
They sound like a real, dysfunctional
Well,
bunch.
She's a very organized, she knows exactly how she wants things, it's up to her. And Tim's not, he may be a little bit fussed about, but I don't think he cares that much about
Well, I think that's rude.
it. Well, it is a little bit, but anyway,
Very rude.
my 2 sisters, Liz and Luke and Dan and I, got a house. On Verbo, have you ever heard of that?
The what?
It's like, Airbnb. We rented a house.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
So, the 6 of us are gonna be in this house. Well, it's a little bit, it's north of Traverse City. It's for my cousin's daughter, which is in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today.
Okay.
Not Traverse City. That's Traverse City is further south. No, it's not.
이게 아니 나는 이거 뭐지 하고 이렇게 보니까 내가